those trannies, you better, do right by them. They will ruin your day.
It's Sunday, December 13th, 2020. Episode 032. You are about to go down the rabbit hole with Joe and Brian. I'm Brian. With me, as always, is my good friend Joe. Joe, how you doing this Sunday afternoon?
I'm well, and yourself?
I'm doing good. Much better than Thursday.
Yeah, I'm glad you made it, man. I wasn't sure for a second.
Yeah. So apologies to everyone who was looking for a podcast Friday. I was just like near death. I just felt like death Thursday, man. I think I got like a bug or I guess maybe food poisoning, but I don't know. Something just I just was not able to uh, give you my best that day. It would have been rough. So
Well, and did you see how the stock market responded? Like, dropped like 800 points, and friggin' I think Kim Jong Il started threatening South Korea again, and just there was real world consequences, man. So your health is important.
don't put that on me, man.
Sorry, I mean, it is what it is.
Was it Kim Jong Un or was his sister back, or is he? Are we sure that he's back now? He wasn't like on death's door or what?
Well, you know what? Like, the prospect of missing an episode of the show brought him back, if for no other reason to to make sure that things went the right way, so to speak.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, you know what?
Well, what?
Motherfucker, give me 2 fingers of Southern Comfort.
What did the bartender bring you tonight, Joe?
The bartender brought me a classic gin and tonic.
Woohoo!
Yeah, anybody who's ever been drinking with Joe, drinking with me for an extended amount of time knows that my classic go-to is gin and tonic, but not just any gin. Blue Sapphire, tonic, lime. Is my classic cocktail.
Ah, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm drinking Johnny Walker Red
Red.
and Red Label. Yeah.
Now, quick question. I know there's Johnny Walker Black, Red, Blue. What's the order of smoothness?
I'll be honest, I don't know.
All right.
Never had the Blue Label. I had the Black. I guess maybe my palate's just not sensitive enough to tell the difference between the two. I don't know. Or maybe it's because I drank one and then another and they just kind of all mixed together. I don't know, but red is the most economical, so, and it's fine with me. So
All right, cool.
it's got a little of that smokiness, but not a ton, and it's like my go-to.
There you go. It's good.
So yeah, that's what I'm. And then if I need it, I got a Coke Zero here to
Chase it.
if I need to. But it's pretty smooth.
Smooth is important. Smooth is important.
So before we get started, I wanted to follow up on our last conversation when we was talking. I was talking about how Lewis Hamilton missed last week's race because he tested positive for COVID. And so I was looking forward to last weekend's race because it wasn't going to just be another predictable Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri, Bottas 1-2 finish. I was expecting a Valtteri Bottas finish, but he's the number 2 guy at Mercedes. But so here's we were talking about how much is machine, how much is the car, how much is the driver, you know, as far as winning goes.
Yeah, and you said something to the effect of, well, you know, you really can't tell because Lewis Hamilton's like the number 1 driver and Mercedes is like the number 1 car, and you're like,
Right.
what would happen if you were to take Lewis Hamilton and put him in a Haas or some other, like, you know, some other non-winning racing team?
Good memory, my man. That was exactly my thoughts. And so last week we got that we'll never get that scenario, but last week we got a scenario that was pretty close. So what they ended up doing, they went, because all these, even though they're all different manufacturers. Some of them, a lot of them have different relationships with each other. You know, there's like probably two or three teams that get like Mercedes hand-me-down engines and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some sort of a relationship, and there's a team called Williams, and they have one of their drivers is a guy named George Russell. This is his second year in Formula One. I believe he's never to score points. You have to finish 10th place or higher.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe he has ever scored any points. So that means he's never finished a race above 10th place. And I'm not sure what his best race has been these past 2 years. But what they did last weekend was Mercedes took George Russell from Williams and had him drive Lewis Hamilton's car.
Yeah, all right.
And so he so this driver who has never finished above 10th gets in this car, and I can't remember if he took pole position or not, but if he didn't, he was like number 2. He finished number 2 in the qualifying, and then in the race he jumped out to the lead. He stayed there, and then in what I've never seen before, Mercedes, a complete cluster F of Mercedes. They was going to bring in their 2 cars, to do like they call it to get tires, and they was going to do like they call it a double stack, where the cars come in to the pits at the same time, and the first one pulls up, gets his tires and takes off, and then the car right behind it pulls up, gets his tires and takes off. They don't do it a lot. It's kind of time consuming, but they did it. And what they ended up doing was Mercedes got all the tires mixed up.
What?
Put the wrong tires on the wrong cars and sent them out. And so after one lap, they had to come back in and get the tires fixed. And so because of that mess up, George Russell went from first place to like 7th or 8th place.
Yeah, still placing.
But then he drove from like 8th place or whatever it was, back up through the field to number 2. He would have probably been, there was like 7 or 8 laps left. and he would have probably caught the number one car in that time. But then they got the Mercedes, his car got a slow puncture in the rear wheel, and he had to retire out of the race. And so just these two incredibly bad luck incidents prevented George Russell from getting any points again or winning the race. But
So
it's interesting. It's interesting. I think that I mean it's anecdotal, but that gives you an idea of just how much better the Mercedes cars are than the others.
yeah, I was about to say, to me, it seemed like you answered the question of is it man versus machine, and it seemed like it's three-fourths machine, and 3/4 machine, then man, and then the team around the man.
Yeah,
Does he
I
have?
don't want to take I don't really want to take anything away from Lewis. I mean, he's a seven-time champion, and I don't think all of those were with Mercedes, but I don't know. I thought that was interesting that George Russell, who never registers, all of a sudden was like the rock star driver that weekend, and because of all the mistakes and everything, Sergio Perez with this, and it was a great race. This guy Sergio Perez, Mexico's only Formula One racer, he's never won a race. He just happened to be there, and he won the race. So it was cool to see that.
Cool. Well, there
So
you go.
yeah, that was my F1 follow up, and then F1 today was F1's the final race of the season at Abu Dhabi. So no more F1 talk for a while, folks.
Well, there you go.
Yep,
For a while.
for a while.
Who knows? Maybe we'll get some
Oh,
F1 fans, and they'll write back and
maybe,
mix it up with you. I'm sure.
maybe.
I'm sure there's probably a lot
I have.
of Lewis Hamilton fans that are like, he's not a social justice warrior. He's just a guy who has a heart.
Mm, there may be,
Speaking of heart,
but uh,
yeah, there's no.
speaking of what?
Yeah, I said speaking of heart.
Heart. Um, Ahmed Arbery, George Floyd. We have updates this week, Joe.
Updates. Holy smoke! When was the last time I haven't?
It's been like 2 or 3 weeks, I think.
Oh,
And these are they're not big updates really. Um, eh, George Floyd first. The lawyer for, if you remember the Asian cop,
yeah, okay. Tao
the
Tian
lawyer,
or
yeah, the lawyer for, well, it says the lawyer for former Minneapolis police officer involved in the death of George Floyd has filed to delay the trial until July. According to CARE 11, Robert Paul, who was representing ex-cop Tu Tao,
yeah.
has accused state prosecutors of breaching a court order to share discovery material with the defense. On Friday, Paul filed to move the court date, which is slated to begin March 8th, to July 5th instead. He also asked Judge Peter Cahill to move the date for the defense lawyers to reveal their expert witnesses. Additionally, Paul wants the state to cover the defense attorney's costs and fees associated with the 4-month delay. Anything else you want?
Yeah, he's leaving no stone unturned.
The defense believes the state is delaying discovery, which will block them from having the proper amount of time to prepare for arguments they may face during trial. The state has held on to exculpatory evidence they had knowledge about for months without disclosing it to the defense, Paul wrote in his motion. To date, the state has it says untimely, but I think maybe it means ultimately disclosed evidence 8 times, amounting to over 15,000 pages of evidence.
That's a lot of evidence.
Yeah. Do we need? Does it take 15,000 pages to? I don't know.
Apparently.
Yeah. Ahmaud Arbery. Well, first before we move on, any comments on that?
So oh yeah, they didn't give us enough. They didn't give us enough time to review the stuff, and so we wanted to push it back 3 months, and then or that 4 months, and then have you guys pick up the bill. Sure, okay, why not?
Yeah, I don't get that, but and I got a feeling that that's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe they'll push it back up. Maybe probably not. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I really don't have any. I mean, maybe these are all legitimate complaints, and the judge will take them into consideration. I don't know.
it's hard to get excited one way or another about that one.
Yeah, yeah. We're getting updates, but there's nothing too great here. Ahmaud Arbery. I think if you call the last time we did talk, the brothers were trying to get bail.
Yeah, father son.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is just the judge said that they pose a significant danger to the community. A Georgia judge has outlined his reasons for denying bond last month to the father and son charged in the February killing of Ahmaud Arbery, saying the video in the case showed the lengths the defendants would take to track down and restrain another person. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it kind of makes sense if if you're in jail for getting up from your couch and running down a person who's running down the street and end up eventually shooting him, there's pretty good reason to believe that yeah, you're a danger to everybody on your block. People like you shouldn't be walking around around the rest of us, so to speak. Pretty wild.
Unquestionably, there is significant risk of danger to persons, community, and property in all of these actions taken by the defendants. Walmsley wrote he feared the defendants could pose a flight risk if released before trial because they face a sentence of life without parole. Walmsley said potential evidence of racism and racist social media posts from the McMichael accounts presented by prosecutors, in addition to the announcement of a federal hate crimes investigation, all supported his concern the defendants pose a significant risk of flight. The Department of Justice announced in May it is assessing all the evidence to determine whether federal hate crime charges are appropriate. While Georgia's legislature passed a hate crimes bill into law in June, following a push by activists who cited Arbery's case, the state statute is not retroactive. So, still things are slowly moving on, and we expected no less, did we?
Yeah, yeah.
This is
I
going
think
to
it's
take a
odd
while.
that the cop in Minnesota, he's like chilling in some undisclosed location, and yeah, he's chilling,
Yeah,
and I guess these guys thought they'd be doing the same thing by now.
yeah,
So
great.
yeah, I think yeah, it seems as if you know uh, yeah, these guys didn't have much common sense, and to think that they'd be
These,
allowed to be
these guys, they're just idiots. I know that they just have to be.
just have to be.
You know. Yeah, I just can't imagine any other. I can't imagine them any other way. But I don't know.
You'd be shocked if they turned out to be
But
like
then again, that's me though. I realize that's me just kind of mind reading, which is I typically will.
reject, right?
I don't. Yeah, I try to reject. I try to reject that, but I know that I'm mind reading, but I don't know. It's hard not to.
Well, it's there's an exception for every rule.
Yes. This was late coming in, so I didn't not on the agenda, but we got feedback again.
I like feedback.
I like feedback too. So thank you for the feedback. I'm gonna. There was some of it. Some of the feedback had links to other stories that I didn't get a chance to check out. I will after the show and maybe talk about whatever those were next week. But just some of the points. I like these like bullet point, just like one line thoughts. Good point about the Last Supper. Yeah, that was a good point, and it's just curious.
Well, I mean, my understanding is that did we look up the definition of supper?
I think you did. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Um, Gavin, stay home. Trump, wear a mask. You know what? Fair enough. Yeah, I can't argue with that. I wear a mask, so should
Hey,
Trump.
are they enforcing masks down there?
Well, the restaurants, and the places that you go are. So I mean, I guess I guess that I don't know whether it's the state saying that they have to, but every place that I've ever wanted to go, you have to have a mask to go in. So I guess yes. I've never tried to go someplace without a mask and
Yeah.
someone say,
Hey, put a
and
mask on. Okay.
I don't know whether they would confront me or not. I guess it depends on the place. Um, read the manual. It will tell you how to do echoes. I think your mom just RTFM'd me,
Hmm?
man. Like one
RTFM.
RTFM,
What is that?
one of the most popular and oldest acronyms in technology is RTFM, and it stands for Read the Effing Manual. That's essentially what she's telling me here. Read the manual; it'll tell you how to do echoes. That's true. Although the problem, I think the bigger problem is that the sound machine is physically a separate machine from my recording machines. So yeah, the sound machine, the soundboard, and my recording machine are two different physical machines. So sadly, there's no way for me to process my voice um, in real time. Although that doesn't, I could have done it after the fact, I guess. But anyway.
Next time.
Vaccines 3 to 4 weeks apart. Immunity unknown. I think really cold will hurt. When my doctor recommends it, I will take it. You know, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm dubious. I mean, I'm skeptical about a lot of stuff. I know. Um, I think as I said last week, like I haven't taken a flu shot for I don't know how long.
Whatever.
Yeah, probably not since I was in school and mom made me. But you know, the thing that they always, no one really talks about, and when you start questioning vaccines, you're instantly called an anti-vaxxer, which just kind of shuts the conversation down. But I think something that really needs to be taken into account is um, what kind of testing and how thorough a job the testing is with things like this.
Well, I mean, it's funny you should say this because I mean, I heard that that this vaccine is new insofar as they're using this thing called RNA messenger technology,
Okay.
and it's the very first time that this type of vaccine has ever been used. And so, I, I'm in general, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but in this specific instance, I am because I mean, my understanding,
They haven't had. Yeah.
yeah, they haven't had enough time to test this to see how it affects you long term. Like it may be one of those things where, yeah, it might help you get rid of this COVID or build an immunity to this COVID piece, but they honestly don't know it and can't know of any other secondary or tertiary or unexpected side effects.
Hmm. Yeah. I think we're on the same page with
So
that.
like, but like I was listening to actually it was funny. I was listening to Washington Journal, the C-SPAN call-in show, and they had like some medical bioethicist guy on talking about how you know like this is not your traditional vaccine, and that this I mean, sorry, Pfizer's vaccine is not your traditional father's vaccine insofar they're using this new RNA messenger technology. And so I'm going to read up on the whole messenger technology stuff because, yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know there was. I mean, I didn't know there was a difference either.
yeah.
That's interesting.
And I didn't, had it not been for that show, I would not have known, but I know now. And so now I'm curious as to see how is it different than Moderna's, which is not the messenger RNA, and the Russians who have a vaccine.
Right.
So I remember I was thinking to myself that this is how the zombie apocalypse probably starts. That
Yeah.
there's this this national health emergency which forces people to run off and take some vaccination, and then they find out like 2-3 years down the line that you know you become a zombie.
Yeah. No, I can't argue with that. um, Talk more about 230. I don't know why it's good or bad.
230.
Maybe it was three. Is it 320? The section. The
Oh, section 230.
Yeah, section 230. Yeah, that's what I thought it was that.
So
I don't know why it's good or bad. What was the original purpose?
original purpose was to shield from liability social media messenger providers like Facebook from being sued regarding something one of the I guess users posted on their platform.
Right. Their argument initially was, "Hey, we're just a platform. We can't be held responsible for what our users put on it."
Mhm.
And so that's why and that's a good thing. If you're just a platform,
But now like
but now
when the president comes on and says X, Y, and Z, and then there's a little information in that says that we this is demonstrably false.
yeah, or they essentially made Alex Jones disappear before
Oh
last
yeah,
year's
there's like the
election.
YouTube apocalypse or slaughterverse or
Right. And so the fly in the ointment is now that these companies that benefited from that Section 230 when they were just getting their legs under them are now they've 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 purposefully they are no longer just a platform. They are now what people are calling they're saying that they're doing they're doing like editorializing and based on what they allow and don't allow on the platform. And so they want to take that protection away from them. Now, like I think I said last week, you don't want, Trump is absolutely wrong. You do not want to get rid of this entirely because the people that will hurt are the startups and not these behemoths that can now
did,
have 1,000 lawyers and enough money that they can um, defend against lawsuits, but it's the smaller upstarts that um, they're the ones that will be
right.
damaged if
Now, speaking of lawsuits, did you hear about the lawsuit against Facebook to break it up?
No, I didn't. I've heard talks about wanting to break Google up, but I didn't hear about
No, they filed
Facebook.
they filed a lawsuit against Facebook this past week, and it would be basically seeking to break it up for being anti-competitive. And yes, there's also a law. There's also a lawsuit, antitrust against Google, against their
Mm.
search and how they are anti-competitive. And I think it'll be interesting to see how how Joe Biden's administration treats these things, because I think those things are going to end up getting quashed. The lawsuits against the Justice Department lawsuits against big tech companies, I think will quietly be quashed over the next over the first year of the Biden administration. That's a side point. Sorry.
It'll be interesting to watch that. That's a good call.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah.
Maybe if you have I don't have anything right here handy, but if you have like a piece of paper or something, jot that down. That'd be a good thing to
The
follow up on. A
how
prediction to see how it comes through,
oh, cool.
how it
Yeah.
comes true. Um, 1.5 hours is long enough. Yes, we've blown past that lately, but maybe this time we'll try to
Well,
keep our conversations more pithy.
it's crazy because last time we were like, yeah, it's like we're at like an hour and a half. We're like, yeah, let's just go for another half an hour.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That we did.
Yeah, but it wasn't
I guess. I
exactly
guess.
hard.
No. We can get to talking and we can burn some time for sure.
So, let's see here. What say you next?
Um, she says we agree. We all need more international news. Yeah, yeah. There's it like I said, it's there's just so much else that's going on out there that we just aren't that just we aren't privy to because most people aren't going to independently seek out you know international news. They're just going to what they're going to consume what they get through their local networks, and that's probably it. But
Well, I mean
there's
that kind of makes sense in a way, because for the most part, international news is the same stuff as local news that people don't care about, only about some other place that people don't care about and can't point out on a map. So
yeah,
yeah,
I know,
I'm
but
not disagreeing that we need. I agree we need more national news, but sorry, international news. But it makes sense to me why they're not serving up more of it.
I really wish. I think that one of the biggest problems. I wish that we was getting news about what's going on in the European Union, because the problems that they're having is they would love to, and I say they, I guess I'm talking about quote unquote the global elites would love to get the United States in a similar type of an arrangement, and where everything is decided for us by some unelected bureaucrat in some faraway land, and
Like Washington.
maybe uh, well, possibly, but I think I've heard that they want to take and make Mexico, United States, and Canada like an entity,
Where do you
and
hear that from?
apply. Uh, I don't know.
Huh.
This is I'm digging from way back, but I mean, just they want to do something. I've heard that they wanted to do something similar to with like what the European Union did with us. And if people knew that, if there was like real good reporting on what the kind of problems that they've had with that, you know, if we were more educated, we'd be less likely to accept something like that.
Hmm. Yeah, I know, man.
That's just my opinion, of course. I could be wrong. Monolith disappears and reappears everywhere. Yeah. Joe actually had a story that I bumped from the show notes this week, but I'll I do want to follow up on that. Um, I like the gum and the hair revenge story that they were both wrong. Yeah, they were both wrong,
Who was wronger
but
there?
one was more wrong than the other, right?
Which one in your mind was more wrong?
Me, I'm thinking it's the inconsiderate girl who, with her hair.
I agree. I think guys that don't have hair are more likely to believe that she was the more inconsiderate party.
Well, that would fit.
Yeah, because like yeah, we're you and I are lockstep in that respect. Like yeah, that chick, what was wrong with her? Like why would someone do that?
That's funny. And finally, I like the cello music ending. Well, I'm glad I put it there specifically for you.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You did.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That I felt like that. I felt like that episode that episode was so just screwy in so many ways. I wasn't happy with the way I sounded. I don't know. I couldn't come up with a good title. I couldn't come up with good music, and so
But but
um,
but if we're honest, man, you never like the way you sound.
yeah. But I mean, my sound quality was really bad. I sounded like I was in a tunnel last week. But yeah, I love that. I love that dark, that deep cello music. I'll um I'll put that on. Not all the time, but I'll put that on as background music while I'm working all day long, and it's just super. Yeah, I love it, and so
Classical Brian.
yeah, yeah, um, yeah. I had all kinds of classical type music that I'm not. I don't know all the. I don't know enough about it to pull like a really good popular classical piece that she would recognize. So I just pulled some generic deep cello playing music, and yeah, I'm glad she liked it.
Well, that's what's up.
Um, so
Then
what do
there's
you
the
say, Joe? We got
international spy story we have to deal with.
um. Well, ch- uh, you must be talking about Fang,
Fang Fang.
the yeah, the Chinese, the female, the femme fatale, I guess. Um,
Hell.
femme fatale. I said it wrong, maybe. Yeah. We need to talk about China, man. We've already a few episodes back, or actually even more than a few, but we've talked about the possible dangers of China.
But wait. Um,
Mm.
wait a second. Did we ask people to like, share, and subscribe?
Oh, no, we did not. We'll get to them at the end. We'll get to them at the end.
Well, I mean, and
There's
I mean, and the reason I asked is because it's kind of tied up into China, actually. Because now that I realize that I'm on a desperate jihad for YouTube listenership, I don't want to say anything that's gonna, you know, piss off our good friends, our right noble friends in
mm,
China. So, yeah.
I, in all seriousness, if if we were a bigger podcast, I don't know how it works, but I mean, I've listened to other content creators, and the things that we've talked about would absolutely get get us either the show removed or us suspended from YouTube. I mean, we've broken those rules.
Yeah. And when people start listening, it'll just kind of just take off like a wildfire, and next thing you know, there'll be like revolutions and you know all over China. So we got to be careful, though.
Well,
Preaching this
that's
fire
true.
is not without consequence.
Um, yeah. So the overall my overall question for this section is: Are we already under attack by China? People and I think people. I don't know that we'll ever be attacked militarily by anyone.
Mm.
But have we already been has China already started the attack
So,
on the United States?
so you're asking the question you're asking is whether there would exist a state of war between the United States and China.
Yes.
Okay. And I think to answer that question, yes, there exists a state of war, but I think it would be an undeclared state of war on our side. I think
Right.
the Chinese have declared war. They've declared war in all way, in every way short of pulling the trigger or dropping bombs, but everything else is on the table. And
Now, okay.
and it will be foolish and folly for us to go back to the way we were prior to Trump, where we coddled and bent over backwards to accommodate the Chinese. That would be a mistake, and I fear that we may be going back to that with Joe Biden, because I remember when he first came out, he started doing some of that happy talk about how China's not really all that big of a problem, and I remember thinking to myself, oh my goodness, he can't be serious, right? So, as a guy who used to be the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, you should hope he's pretty he was pretty clear eyed about the threat posed by China, and that as president of the United president elect, that he's yeah not engaged in a happy talk.
Um, a real quick aside. I don't want to. I don't want to just give me like a yes or no answer.
Right?
I don't, and we'll circle around to it later if we need, if we want to, if we think like we need to. But real quick, do you think that under Biden's presidency, do you think that Biden is the one calling the shots?
I think he is, insofar as any president actually is. I mean, the fact is that you don't get to stick around Washington D.C. for 47 years as a senator, then 8 years as a vice president, and be totally incompetent as to how things work. And so, I think that a lot of the Sleepy Joe and Joe not calling the shots. I think that's likely a little overblown.
Well,
He, he,
I mean, like I said, you can listen to him giving speeches and interviews from just 4 years ago, and compare the way he spoke then to the way he speaks now, and it's night and day. I'm not being, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not here to bash on Biden and his gaffes or anything. I'm not going to do that, but I also at the same time you can't deny that it exists, and I'm just wondering what your thoughts were on that.
I mean, but like asking that question, like saying, "Hey, was George W. Bush really running things, or was it like friggin' Cheney and Cheney and the evil eight running things?"
Fair enough, yeah, fair enough.
Um, I I get the feeling that those guys don't pick their tie, much less
I
be.
got you. Yeah, that's fair enough.
So
Well, okay, back to China. And even before we hit on this here, I mentioned these a little bit in the pre-show. China is apparently they own the NBA, which is a huge influence on America's youth. The NBA when I was a kid, the NBA was a big deal, and I go home and I see my brother's oldest son, who's only 12, but he's about all the sports, but especially he plays basketball, and it's just everything's the NBA, and it's just,
Say, real
what
question.
earlier this year, yeah.
Quick aside of the big sports: basketball, football, baseball, hockey. Which one? Soccer. Which one's the coolest? Coolest and non-coolest?
Um,
Like, asked a different way, if you had to sit down and watch an hour's worth of highlights,
yeah,
which sports do you think would have the coolest highlights?
probably the NBA.
NBA, followed by
Um, I'd go NFL.
the NFL. Sorry, NBA, NFL. Who's last? Who would have the suckiest?
Well,
Baseball or soccer?
see, if we're just talking about highlights, and you don't have to consume the entire game,
All right.
it's I've seen soccer highlights that I'm just like rewind, rewatch. I just
You're like,
rewatch
like
them over and over
wow.
again because it's amazing some of the stuff that I've seen. But then again, I love seeing the home run where as soon as it leaves the bat, you know that it's just going into orbit. I like, and even hockey, hockey, there's some crazy highlights from there. But if I had to watch an entire game of one of those sports, I guess I'd go with baseball. Um, but then that's probably largely influenced because that's how I was raised.
All right. But I'm sorry. So I just got sidetracked. We were talking about
Yeah,
China
the
owning the
NBA, how
NBA.
China, yeah, China's got this crazy, some kind of a big influence, and influence. It's money.
Oh yeah,
China has
they got a
they have a
billion
big influence
folks.
in the NBA.
The,
Yeah,
the,
they all
the,
love the NBA.
the China model is, hey, we got a billion people over here, and when you want, some portion of that billion people to be watching, basketball, the
Hmm.
answer is yes. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, I don't know enough to speak intelligently about it, but as I understand, they also have a huge influence over Hollywood
yes,
and the
a lot of
movies that get produced.
yeah, a lot of Chinese companies have gone out and bought like American movie houses, and and a lot of American movies want to be played in China. Once again, what portion of this 1 billion billion person population do you want to be watching your movies? And so, to the influence China has over Hollywood is they're like, okay, do you want your do you want your next movie? You want your next blockbuster to be able to play it, in Chinese theaters? The answer is yes. So as a result, you're gonna make movies that are friendly towards, friendly or don't piss off the Chinese leadership. And
Yep.
I heard that's why, what was it? Brad Pitt will never be, he's never gonna be able to get a movie shown in China again because he's pissed him off.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
like the movie, what World War Z.
Okay, I haven't seen it, but
But apparently that movie was heavily altered such that it would be deemed more China friendly. I think in the original movie, sorry, in the original book, it was the zombies came about as the result of Chinese testing. But
um,
but yes, China's influence over Hollywood is significant.
do you think China has influence over our the our news media?
Um, it would be surprising if they didn't, right? I
Right.
mean, yeah, yeah,
We feel we've both seen and recognized their influence over global organizations like
yeah,
the
World Health
WHO.
Organization.
Right. So these, so those are, those are big things that shouldn't be overlooked. But we've got like this, and I don't know what this Christine Fang, what her end game was. It sounds like she just kind of screwed her way across America and ended up with, because there's a story that I mean, I know that that Swalwell is like the guy who I think is left holding the bag, but there's an article that it was like, um, that some Ohio mayor, unnamed, but the mayor of some unnamed Ohio town was caught in an FBI sting, getting it on with her in the back of his car. So
What?
yeah, I don't know. I can't believe I didn't put that in the show
Well,
notes.
we know it wasn't Jerry Springer because he's no longer in office.
Yeah, I don't know who it was. They didn't say what town it was, but it was a mayor that. Um,
Yeah, but
and then of course and of course like an idiot dude would say, he asked her, why do you like me, and he's like, and she says something like, I want you, I need help with my English or something like that. That was something stupid,
oh,
but yeah.
you can't just say that. You gotta send that to me.
Yeah, it'll be here, I can probably, I can get away with this. Ohio mayor.
But with regard to this, her and this Eric Swalwell guy, if have you seen some of the video of Eric Swalwell on MSNBC?
I have not, no.
He goes pretty heavy in that whole Trump is a Russian. I mean, he's one of the few guys that actually came out and said Trump is a Russian agent. So
I Okay.
yeah, whereas everyone else was hello, everyone,
Yeah, I'm here.
yeah, everyone else was hinting at it. He came out. He came out on several times and said, "Yeah, Trump is a Russian agent. He's always been a Russian agent." And it's one of those things where the speculation is maybe she had a battery in his back in terms of, hey, get this out there. And
Well,
and the fact that he was on the intelligence committee. So I mean, those guys they get the secret stuff.
right.
So
I Well, if that's what he thinks, I at least can appreciate the fact that he puts it out there if that's what he believes.
yeah, I mean, but he strikes me as a guy who, smart guy, gets to Washington and realizes in order to get ahead, you might have to say some things and do some things. And he seemed like he's like okay with saying, yeah, I'll say that, yeah, I'll do that.
Right.
So
Kind of like Schiff. Do you think Schiff really believes all the stuff that he said during the impeachment hearings?
I honestly didn't. I actually met Schiff.
Did you really?
Yeah, I've been to his office, been in his been to his office, met him, shook his hand, got a picture with him. I was talking with him about how the Baltic states needed American reassurance in the face of Russian aggression. but I'm I can speak about him from that point of view. But I really didn't follow much of what he said regarding the impeachment stuff.
You never cease to amaze me, Joe High.
What do you mean?
International man of mystery. I've said it once before. I'll say it again.
You make me laugh. But let's see here. Yeah, what do you say that was so crazy?
No, just all of. In my mind, everything he said was crazy. I can't give you any examples, but just the most. He just it seemed like he just would say the most out. A lot of stuff like you were saying, Swalwell was saying.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um, and he would even, I mean, he would even say things that even MSNBC was like, no,
really?
that's a little
Nah.
far fetched. But
What? Yeah,
anyway, that's beside the point. Yeah,
I
it's
haven't seen or heard it, but I'm not going to say it didn't happen.
yeah, and it's beside the point now. Uh,
But we were talking about China, and I think there's something about China wanting to make super soldiers.
yeah, oh yeah, they're just doing all kinds of things. And before we get to the super soldiers, though, you know, even then, even and this is probably because we're not, international news isn't being reported, but China for the longest time has been going into like these African countries and investing a lot of money in infrastructure so that they can essentially, like, as I think it was like, um, take all the take like natural resources for stuff like one story I heard was like how they they was like some country had was rich in the some
Metal or
a metal
mineral.
that's crucial to like making cell phone batteries and stuff like that,
Hmm.
that they would go into these places and inject a lot of money into the infrastructure and everything, but then send in a bunch of Chinese workers to go and essentially, you know,
Do the project.
yeah, take all the resources and things like that. And I don't even know what Silk Road and these other things are, but I we should probably look into that because I think these are there's Silk Road and some other road.
Well, yeah, I can speak to those.
Can you
Yeah,
please do?
Silk Road has several connotations. One of which is the digital underground, where they were pretty much moving, you know, all order of illegal contraband on the Silk Road. So
That was the deep web
yeah,
site,
but yeah,
right?
but
Okay.
that's not what you're talking about with regard to China. What you're talking about is the ancient Silk Road that linked pretty much China to Europe, and the current president Xi Jinping has a pretty much multi-billion-dollar project called the Belt and Road Initiative, and what it seeks to do is, huh?
No, go ahead.
What it seeks to do is pretty much reestablish the ancient uh, land route to from China to Europe, and it seeks to link pretty much all the various ports to all around the world. So they're not just talking about you know the land route to Europe anymore. They're talking about being able to extract mineral resources from from Africa, South America, all over the world. And so, one of the other things that China is doing right now with respect to small African countries is doing what they call debt trap diplomacy, where they'll kind of like you said issue all these loans, and then they'll send Chinese workers to do all the work, and then when that company can't make those debt obligations, pretty much use those debt obligations that basically take the resource. So
Shady.
yeah. But it's part of their now well-known playbook. So
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
those Chinese are busy.
So, China has done human testing to create biologically enhanced super soldiers, say top U.S. official.
Not sure.
U.S. intelligence. Huh?
Not sure why that's such a bad thing because we have like we have an entire TV show movie based on that.
Yeah.
What's that
Yeah.
called again?
There's
Captain.
a yeah. There's been Captain America. There's been he was a super soldier. There was some lesser. Jean Claude Van Damme was in like an 80s or 90s movie that dealt with that subject matter. There it is, right there. Yeah, Universal Soldier. It's at the bottom of this. Yeah, U.S. intelligence shows that China has conducted human testing on members of the People's Liberation Army in hope of developing soldiers with biologically enhanced capabilities, the top U.S. intelligence official said Friday. John Ratcliffe, the director of national intelligence, included the explosive claim in a long Wall Street Journal op-ed in which he made the case that China poses the preeminent national security threat to the U.S. There are no ethical boundaries for Beijing's pursuit of power, wrote Ratcliffe, a Republican former member of Congress from Texas. His office and the CIA did not immediately respond to requests to elaborate on the notion that China sought to create super soldiers of the sort depicted in Hollywood films like Captain America, Bloodshot, and Universal Soldier. So that's crazy, man. But I mean, I don't know. Wasn't there like story? Maybe this is just science fiction or whatever. But didn't like Hitler have like a try to? Wasn't Hitler trying to come up with super soldiers as well?
I thought that was like an Indiana Jones.
Uh, I don't know if any Indiana Jones ever dealt with that, but I mean, I thought that's what they was doing, like these experiments on like Jews with trying to.
Oh, oh,
I don't know, man.
okay. Okay, I've heard like Doctor Spangula or Smangula,
Mengele.
Mangala. So yeah, he was into some pretty you know like seeing how people respond to gunshot wounds by tying Jews up
Right.
and just shooting them point blank range. Like, oh, this caliber, they get this type of you just real
Yeah.
like
Have you heard? Are you familiar with Uyghurs?
Uyghurs are the ethnic group in what Western China. They're what Muslims, and they're all being rounded up in
Yeah.
concentration camps now, right?
Uh, yeah. From what I've heard, I've heard. I mean, I've heard all kinds of things. I don't know. It's hard to tell what's true and what's not. But yeah, like I've heard that they like use them for like body parts. You know, like
Oh well,
if
like
some rich person needs a kidney or a heart or a lung or something, that
well,
they'll
yeah, that
just.
that's true. That's true. Like
Is it true?
yeah, they there was a report that came out a couple of years ago about how there just so many like a disproportionately high number of uh, organ transplants come out of China. And they're like, yeah, just statistically, it's not likely that you're gonna have as many people need an organ, and there being a willing, healthy donor of that organ at the same time. So, and in fact, there was there's a lot of controversy. Every so often, there's a what's it called? A a museum piece that goes travels all over the world, where it basically is basically a bunch of dead people and their bodies have been I guess preserved. But
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It came to Cincinnati one. I didn't
yeah,
get to go see
yeah.
it, but yeah,
The last it was there when I lived in Cincinnati. Story
Right.
is that those people are a lot of them are Uyghurs or political dissidents from China who ended up having their organs harvested, and that's the proper term they use for it, organ harvesting in China.
Wow.
Yeah,
So there's no doubt in your mind that this is like really happening.
oh, none, zero. I mean, zero. Yeah, uh, yeah, zero doubt in my mind that this stuff's really happening.
Why does the world? So I can't think of one redeeming quality that I've ever heard about China
Well,
that would justify the world tolerating tolerating this.
well,
Is it just because of their size and money?
it's that, and yeah, it's their size. Well, several, yeah, it's they've lifted what 400 million people out of poverty, so they lifted more people that are currently resident out of in the United States out of poverty. That's that's beyond huge.
But how many deaths are they responsible for?
Um, I'm sure still it's not not well. The probably I you ooh, the probably
There's no way to calculate that
yeah,
really, I don't think.
there probably is, but it'd be one of those things where the number would be likely so high that people would just tend to not want to believe it because who want to think of human misery on that scale? But yeah, so there's that. There's their size, and the other thing is no one wants a horribly destabilized China where you have a country with 1 billion people. I mean, could you imagine if people start fleeing from China, how that's going to pretty much impact everybody in Asia on all borders? No one wants to destabilize China, so that's probably another reason they want to. They're willing to accept it.
Well put, Joe. That's actually a great answer. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
I hope I don't end up like canceled or you look up and Joe you find like a suicide letter from me and I stabbed myself 20 times in the back and threw myself out of a window.
And child porn, and they found child porn on your hard drive.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Speaking all this truth about China doesn't make you feel comfortable.
No, it doesn't. Um, and we're going to have to deal with them on a real level at one point or another.
Thing is that yeah, um, when your opponent makes can make has a 100-year plan, and the guys on your side are all focused on 2 and 4 year increments.
Hmm.
The idea, it's just not likely that things are going to end well for you.
Right. You mentioned something also. Can we permission to move on, sir?
Sure, but of course, yeah, yeah.
You mentioned something earlier that got me interested, and you said it was you asked me if I had heard about Joe Biden and his discussion with various civil rights leaders, and we don't have any articles here. I think you said you watched a video concerning this, but can you enlighten me what this was about?
So, approximately 2 days ago, a there was a leak regarding a secret private Zoom video chat Joe Biden had with like three to five different leading civil rights organizations. And I mean, I've listened to the tape, and it's like also so the little bit of background. This was supposed to be a closed meeting. No one else was supposed to hear the contents of this meeting, but obviously somebody who was a party to the meeting recorded it and sent it out. But basically, you hear Joe Biden basically talking about what he is and what he's not going to do, and the tone in which he takes for with these people is quite amazing, especially when you consider the fact that had it not been for black people and specifically these civil rights folks coming out and in a really big way to support him in South Carolina, he would not be where he is. And so um, he's on tape talking about how so in one section of the tape, someone's asking him to basically try to lead and pass the George Floyd Police Reform Act, and failing the ability to actually pass the act, take elements from it and use his executive power and basically write executive orders forcing them to do certain things. And so one of the things was like setting up a database for cops who have brutality charges against them, basically making it easier to um, identify bad cops. And Joe Biden was like, no, in fact, we shouldn't be talking about this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And don't talk about Black Lives Matter and police reform, because it's gonna hurt us when we try to win these 2 Georgia Senate seats come January 5th.
Oh,
Huh?
is this where he said something like, because of this, the Republicans beat the hell out of us?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I heard that. I didn't hear the clip, but I seen that quoted as him telling someone to, okay, stop talking about this police reform stuff because the Republicans beat the
Yeah.
hell
Yeah.
out of
Defund the
us.
police. Yeah. Don't say that.
I did see a
Well,
headline.
and so yeah, there was that, and that, to me, the most cringe-worthy piece of the entire clip was when he was talking about how in the near future African Americans need to start working with Hispanics because they're going to be a larger number, and they're going to outnumber us demographically. Blah blah blah. So um, yeah, if you get a chance, look it up. It's called Deconstructed. Listen to it. It's only about 15 minutes, and it's one of those things where like if you
You
were,
said it was the Intercept,
yeah, the
it was
Intercept.
the Intercept podcast. Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, I want to hear that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he was totally demeaning, totally disrespectful. Um, yeah, just not your guy, so to speak.
Wow.
It's like he showed his ass.
But you're right. I mean, it was these black, so-called black leaders who because you're right, he was floundering until South Carolina, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like yeah. Without South Carolina, there is no President-elect Joe Biden. Without these black leaders and the African Americans whom they represent, there is no President-elect Joe Biden. This man owes everything to these people, and the way he talked to them in that meeting, you would have thought that you would have thought that he had done something really big for them. So, and
Wow.
once you hear, you be like, oh God, like if this is how he talks to his friends.
What's he? How? What's he? What's he like with his the people he don't like?
Yeah, exactly. His non-friends. So, but yeah, that's basically
Um,
it.
okay, good. That's yeah. That I wanna go hear more about that, because it's hard. It's just hard to believe, but it's not hard to believe. It's like, yeah.
Well, I not a fan of Joe Biden. I don't think I'm. I don't think I was as big a Joe Biden hater as you were from our old
Eh,
days.
okay, from the old days.
But I've moved towards you in my dislike and disdain for Mr. Biden.
Well, he's given you plenty of reason, though.
Yeah,
It's not like it's unfounded. It's
he's not
you
he's not
have
making it hard.
legitimate, right. Well, we are at the 1 hour and 20-minute mark,
What
and then
already?
you take away our 10 minutes of pre-show.
It was only 10 minutes though.
I think so,
What?
or at least 10 minutes it was recorded. 10 minutes it was recorded. So tell me, looking at our agenda there, because I put them in with no particular order. What do you see there that you want to talk about? Anything that jumps out at you?
Let me go back one moment.
Sure.
Go back to the top. Let's see here. I want to talk about friggin' Debo dropping dead and Secession.
Okay.
That I mean,
Yeah. Debo has this. See, first of all, Debo has this special meaning to us that no one.
Let's
is
go back
going
and lay the ground. Who is Debo? What's his character?
Debo is the main villain in at least the original Friday movie with Ice Cube and Chris Tucker, the classic.
Mm-hmm.
Debo was the neighborhood bully who everybody was scared of, and he was played by Tony Lister Jr. I think. If you've ever seen him, you'll never forget him.
Yeah,
He's quite
he
a
makes an
character.
impression.
Yeah, he makes an impression for sure. And I think they said he was only like 62.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
passed away. They blamed it. I
Is
don't
it
know if they
COVID related,
attributed it.
right?
They said it was COVID related. I guess I don't know what any underlying causes were. Again, it's just me being lazy. I didn't go beyond the headline, but that's that's sad.
But
He was a great.
Roll the dice. Debo. Hold my money. Watch him. Can I talk to you for a second?
Oh, shit.
Pop's tripping, man. You want me to ask for my bike back? You know I wouldn't trip.
What bike?
The beach cruiser. The one I let you use a couple of weeks ago. The one I've been asking you about.
Oh, that bike.
Ain't know you wanted it back, homie. It's right here. Follow me, homie. Yeah, it's just like it's both ours. Just keep it down at my house. Cool.
Oh, shit!
That's my bike, punk!
You got knocked the fuck out!
Go ahead.
but you were gonna. I'm sorry if I keep on cutting you off. I'll be more mindful. But you were going to speak to the special place he has in the character has in our life. You want to
I don't know.
elaborate on that?
I don't know that I do want to elaborate on that. Do we want to elaborate on that?
You know what? Let's just say
We
can elaborate, but not elaborate.
when I lived downtown in my fancy schmancy high rise
All right.
building, there was
A neighbor, a mutual friend.
yeah,
Yeah,
a friend of mine.
You had a friend of yours, and this person had a police officer boyfriend for whom we would say was Debo with a badge. You know, any man's worst nightmare.
Yeah, this guy was a roided up weightlifter police officer who had a record of
Police brutality.
and had he ever discovered me and his lady friend's friendship, Well, I just might not be here today.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, we made references to to that situation throughout the show. Like, hey,
Yes, we have.
yeah, like,
We
yeah,
have, yeah.
there's a knock at the door. Joe, why don't you go get it? Like, no, 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 no.
Yeah, because it could be Debo on the other side of that door.
Yeah, like, yeah,
Mm.
Debo going through so and so's phone, and next thing you know,
Oh,
God, what were you thinking, man?
dude, one time this year I had no clue how close to death I may have been.
What?
But she told me to come get her at a certain time, and we was going to go eat or something. And I didn't, and at this time I didn't know. I didn't know that she lived with this dude, and so I go, and I'm just pounding on the door, man, and it's like no answer. So I pound some more. It's like if Debo would have opened up that door, oh my God, dude! I've thought after the fact of all kinds of stories that I could have used to get out of it,
Like,
but
I'm
I don't
sorry,
know
I
that
was
I would
looking
have
for
been
so and
sharp
so.
enough. Exactly, I would have asked for someone. I'd be like,
Yeah,
"Yo,
is John
is
Milton here?
Joe here?"
Yeah,
He's like, "Who's Joe?" I was like,
yeah, Joe
"Oh shit,
High,
I
you
have the
know.
wrong room." Yeah, I must have the wrong room. Sorry, my man. Don't kill me.
Then
But
he'd gone home, probably deleted her phone number and never.
yeah, but this guy, I don't know how tall Debo is, like Tony Lister.
I think
This
it's
guy wasn't
6'5".
tall. How big?
6'5".
Okay, well, this guy's nowhere like that. This guy's in the 5 foot range, but he is just roided out. I mean, he's just huge. He was just huge, uh, and like I said, he just as far as we could tell, unstable. So,
And so, of course, you know, when Brian hears all those things, to most people that would be a red flag, or red flag or red lights, but not Brian.
this means I gotta be more careful.
Yeah, the crazy thing is that I think I'm the person who introduced you guys.
You are the one that introduced us.
Huh?
You are the one. You are the one who introduced us.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there'd be Brian blood on my hands if.
But likewise, I'm guessing at the time you didn't know that
No,
that Debo was in existence either, did you?
no, not at all, not at all, not at all. I mean, that was a terrifying realization.
Come Debo. Who? Debo.
I just tuck mine in. What's up, y'all? What's up, Red? Thanks for the bike. What you got on my 40, homie?
I thought you had $200.
I do. But I won't spend Red's money.
I'm broke.
Give it up, Red.
Come on, Debo, stall him out.
Where you got my 40, homie? I don't have nothing. Yeah, you got something. Why you tripping, Debo? Shut up, fuck, I'll knock your ass
Oh
out.
man, that's messed up. Won't you give him back his chain?
What chain?
Yeah, what chain?
Hey, man, why y'all didn't help me?
And I'm high.
Man, that's fucked up, man. If it was y'all, I would have helped y'all.
What about the time he tried to choke me in Smoke backyard?
Yeah.
Oh, that was different.
Yeah, awful.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? We all everyone survived, so we can laugh about it now.
Now,
Yeah. Oh. Alrighty. Secession. So, a somewhat, a relatively popular radio talk show host, I guess, this past week made reference to Middle America seceding from the East and West coastal elites,
Wait, wait,
and
why are you downplaying this person's significance?
oh, I you know, I don't
Yeah,
know.
let's go back. How do you describe him?
He's a moderately popular
No.
radio talk show host,
Okay.
right?
Okay. What's going on, Brian?
So I mean, I'm sure some people have heard of him.
Yeah. What's going on? You got something up your sleeve? Come on.
I actually have nothing up my sleeve. I just thought it would be fun. Rush Limbaugh.
Okay.
He apparently and I need to start listening to him more because he's not going to be around much longer, I don't think. So, I've enjoyed his show for a long time, and I just, but when I decided to cut back on politics, his was the first show to go.
Yeah, Rush Limbaugh's a bad man.
I don't subscribe to that, but I know that half the country does.
Well,
But
I'm sorry, you're saying.
well, I'm just saying. But apparently, he mentioned it. I think he walked it back a little bit, but he did mention secession. But a lot of people have mentioned secession.
But yeah, kind of like how I was putting my finger on that. It'd be one thing if Mark Levin, like you know who he is, don't you?
The great one.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if Mark Levin said it. Trump saying it, I think it's on a different level. So not Trump, Rush saying it's on a different level.
Right. Well, it'll never happen, but it's yeah, I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you. I wish in a way that it would happen.
No, you don't wish that. Well, this is a crazy thing. So, approximately about the time when we started this show, I remember hearing a lot about, a secession or there being another civil war, and I think Mark Levin was saying that at that time, that there's going to be another civil war, and if Trump loses, the very first thing Joe Biden's going to do is trying to get the guns, and that will prompt the next civil war. But I part of me is like, is he saying this because he realizes, like you're saying before, he's not going to be here, so he can say whatever he wants? I mean, does he even have any kids or anything like that?
No biological kids. No, I think he had some stepkids with his second wife, I think.
Yeah, they're not his.
He doesn't have any kids with.
Yeah,
he doesn't have any kids.
But I was thinking.
But he has nieces and nephews and whatnot. It's not like he's just by himself.
Fair enough. But there's no little Rush Jr. He's trying to that he's trying to make sure things are okay for. If that makes sense.
No, there's nothing like that. Secession. We really, oddly enough, this is a I don't know what the term is, an idiom from Rush Limbaugh's show, but his thing was that people's historic perspective begins from when they were born.
It makes sense.
It does. And so we can sit here and we can talk about how bad things are, but even with the all the COVID stuff that we've dealt with this year, do you think that which do you think was worse, what we went through this year, or what the people went through during the Great Depression? You know,
That should be easy. I'd assume the Great Depression, but my understanding is that I mean, if you look at the economy right now, we're not that far off from a Great Depression. Like they'll call it the Great Recession or the Great this, but they just don't want to use the word depression because of the psychological impact that'll have on markets.
well, I know that my 401k that I haven't paid into since I left my prior job is as bigger is as big now as big now as it's ever been. It's interesting. I thought for sure that after the election, if Biden was won, that it would plummet, but it's continued to go up.
Well, I mean,
I find it.
yeah, I think just because it hasn't plummeted yet doesn't mean it's not going to plummet at all. I mean,
That's true. That's true. Um,
it may be one of those things that were there. You know, it will. I mean, if Biden's anticipated to get in and start doing a bunch of things differently, it may be like, okay, well, he's not the president yet, so like, why are we going to start acting as if he is? And until he becomes president, we can still talk sense to him, so to speak.
right.
But I would say that perhaps having your 401k as a barometer, or having the stock market as a barometer as to how good or bad things are, probably is a mistake from the word jump there.
That's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's likely because, and this is not aimed at you in particular, just anyone who could be like, anyone who's in a certain position where they could be like, hey, you know what, A, B, and C, and X, Y, and Z is happening, but it couldn't be that bad because my 401k is still doing well. That makes sense. Can you imagine the type of evil people could turn a blind eye to because their proposed future financial position is looking to be okay?
Right. Yeah.
And that's, like I said, not to condemn you specifically.
You can't condemn me though. I have adopted a very selfish outlook on things, man.
I mean, when you can be condemned, but it's not unforgivable. I mean, it's one of those things like, hey, you only have 24 hours in a day, and how are you going to make sense of your world? Oh, what's good for me must not be all that bad. Is a pretty good, pretty
That's
good first
true,
start, right? Huh?
Yeah, you're right. Okay. I'm looking over the list here. I'm going to say we should probably start wrapping up, but
You want to
I
go
want.
skullduggery?
Well, let's do this. This will be a quick one, I think. Let's talk about Tulsi Gabbard,
Okay.
and then we'll jump to skullduggery, and then we'll get out of here. And I just wanted to bring this up because it's funny that this is even a story. Oh, I'm scrolling down through here. We'll have to touch on the. Anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah, Democrat Tulsi Gabbard introduces a bill that would ban biological males from women's sports. It's just, I just love that that's even a thing today. That someone needs to say this today. And it's just kind of me wanting to say, you'd have never seen that headline when I was a kid growing up. You know,
People be like, "What's a biological male?"
Say again.
I said people would have been like, "What's a biological male?" when we were kids.
Yeah, exactly. Representative Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii introduced legislation this week that would specify that Title IX, which protects people from being discriminated against based on sex in education programs that receive federal funding, be applied on a person's biological sex as determined at birth by a physician. Gabbard introduced the bipartisan bill dubbed the Protect Women's Sports Act with Representative Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma, a Republican. On Thursday, the bill seeks to protect the sex-based intention of Title IX protections by reaffirming the biological sex-based distinctions between men and women in athletics. The bill would prevent organizations which allow biological males to compete against females from receiving federal funding. That's one thing that I've always, from the beginning when this became a thing, that's the one thing that I always seen as the fly in the ointment is if we're gonna live in a society where a man can become a woman just because he says he's a woman, what happens to women? Are the people that's going to be hurt most by things like that, because if you can't, when it comes to like scholarships to just anything, I mean, if a man can,
No. I mean, like we talked about what they call it again, transsexuals, and
transgender,
huh?
sure.
And once
Right.
we figured out that they, some states they gotta go to the knife, they gotta have the hardware slice
Yeah.
done. To me, once they put that out in front of you, and you say okay and sign the dotted line, they slice and dice on you. If you want to then go run and play female sports, I could suit up. Sorry.
I can appreciate where that's coming from. I mean that's
Put me in, coach.
that's dedication. Put me in, coach. Put me in, coach.
I'm ready
I'm
to
ready
play
to play.
today.
That's
Put
great,
me
dude.
into
That's awesome.
yeah. But no, yeah, like to me, you can't be the party that's like, oh yeah, we're all for transgenders and they got a home for us, but they got a home here, and then at the same time being like, yeah, but wait a second, like when it comes to the doling out of money, it has to be you have to have the female hardware. I think that's a double standard for which I cannot countenance. Hello? Yeah,
I'm here.
yeah.
I'm here, man.
Today I'm that guy. What say you?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I found the fact that we're even having to make these distinctions today hilarious, but I don't know. We'll see. But the more interesting thing is is she going to? Because I know she's going to get a lot of blowback.
Yeah, I
Is
think
she
she
going
got
to be
the
strong?
chance.
Is she going to be strong enough to stand by this, or will she walk it back?
My money's on walking it back.
That's not a bad bet, because that kind of talk is it's not tolerated
No.
today.
Those trannies, you better.
So go ahead. What was that,
No,
Joe?
I was checking myself. Yeah, those trannies, you better, do right by them. They will ruin your day and make you famous.
I've been waiting for a pre-show clip to play, and I think you just gave it to me. Let me see here at the 146:46 mark. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, I never like to know what you expect it to be. I always wanted it to be a surprise, but that's here nor there now. You wanted to proceed to skullduggery?
Yeah, because we got one this week. This week in skullduggery is probably the most skullduggerist bastard that we've ever had,
Yeah,
and that would be
we might have to review our skullduggery stories come the end of the year.
yeah, we could do that because we originally wanted to do an end of the year follow up on our propaganda, but that kind of fell by the
So
wayside.
the year's not
But
over yet, man.
that's true. But it's close.
There's
But this week I am that skullduggerous bastard,
always got to be one of them.
and it's because I'm going to bring this up, and
Okay.
and people, this is all me. Joe, Joe is just being forced to go along with the conversation because it's what we do. But this is on me.
And let me repeat that. This is all Brian. BC Newman. New
It's all
man,
me.
not me. Go on.
Let me refresh my my glass here real quick. But this is just about my and this isn't a recent thing. This is I brought this up. I'm bringing it up because I seen a recent article on it. But I have thought this for the longest time. Um, there's no way in hell Chelsea Clinton is Bill Clinton's daughter,
See, like,
biological daughter. Speaking about biological stuff, she is without a doubt the love child between Hillary and Webb Hubble, without a doubt.
so okay, yeah. You gotta unpack some of the who.
Webb Hubble, he was this. He was a Clinton crony back in the '90s. I can't remember. I don't know if he ever held a position or if he was just a lawyer, or I don't know what exactly his relationship was with the Clintons. Um, but I think he is. I think he didn't he end up being found dead under suspicious circumstances.
No, you're thinking of Vince Foster.
I'm thinking of Webb Hubble. Didn't he die of suspicious circumstances, or did he die of cancer? I don't know.
I think he's still alive.
I don't think Webb Hubble's alive.
Looking at his Wikipedia, they typically give you the born and death. Let me go inside the page. But I mean, okay, we can go that he's dead until we find otherwise.
Yeah.
It says he's 72 years old.
Wow. This must be a. This must be like a Mandela effect. I could have swore he was dead.
No, you think of Vince Foster. Vince Foster was the guy that was that people thought
Yeah.
Clinton had waxed because, yeah,
Okay. Well.
looks like
Well, it's good. I'm glad that Chelsea still has her dad around.
you can't. No, okay. So sorry. So how do you think? What reason do you have to believe that Chelsea?
They look identical.
Okay, but like no. I mean, you could if you get a picture of Chelsea Clinton and put it next to Bill Clinton, you could tell that Bill Clinton had something to do with that.
Nah.
Hmm.
I'm looking at these pictures, and you can look at. I mean, just listeners can Google this if they want. I've got some pictures. I put a few pictures in the show notes here, but so there's a picture of Chelsea and a picture of Webb Hubble's other daughter, and they look identical. And then there's a picture of a grown up Chelsea with Webb, and they just their lips, their eyes, their nose, their face structure, they look They just look alike.
Oh, okay. So sorry. What?
It's just it's bizarre.
Where? How did this get stuck in your craw, so to speak?
Oh, I no, it's not in my crawl. It's just something that I find interesting. I just think it's funny. That no one talks about it. It's never been mentioned.
No, I don't believe.
Never been mentioned. It's never been mentioned in proper conversation anyway.
All right. Well, we should and yeah, that's
Are you looking at the pictures, Joe?
I'm
Are
looking
you
at the
serious?
pictures, and I mean, and the two girls look like they look alike how any two white, long-haired.
Oh my goodness! Oh my
Yeah,
goodness! All right.
in my understanding is that Chelsea Clinton, as an adult, has had some type of corrective surgery, like
To make her look more like her dad.
to make her look less like her dad and more like a human. You never heard that before?
I'm going to embed these pictures in the
The show?
YouTube video, the YouTube video, so they'll get every five. How I have different pictures.
Uh-huh.
I want to put these pictures in that video because these are great, and yeah. So I'm the skullduggerist. I can feel the hate already.
Yeah,
The Clintons are kind of like
you're gonna get us banned off YouTube.
I don't know, man. Do the Clintons still demand that kind of
Fealty.
loyalty? Fealty. Yes, that's the word I was looking for, Joe. Thank you. You knew what I was thinking.
Yeah. Maybe like bend down and kiss the ring.
Well, we're at the end.
Oh.
This is where I'm going to say, if you're listening on YouTube, to please like, subscribe, share. Now,
Hey, and if you listen and don't like, subscribe, or share, we're gonna come and get you.
yes, your ass is grass.
Grass, and I'm a lawnmower. Sorry.
If you recall the end of the show last episode, I said I made an offer. I said if you've listened this long, I want you to go to our YouTube page. You don't have to listen on YouTube. You just need to go there and leave a comment, and I would randomly choose one of the names and send them a $50 Amazon gift card. And as of last night when I looked, no comments, which tells me, I guess, that no one is listening to the end.
Well, people are listening.
Although, go ahead.
Yeah, people are listening. I told Monique that she can't get it.
She can't, but Joan, that would have been $50 easy for her. Although she probably exempted herself, but she didn't need to.
So I must say that there were people raring to get it, but for whatever contractual reasons, they weren't able to.
All right. Well, the next time I do this, I'm gonna refine the rules to the point where it's simply Joe High is ineligible.
Yeah. Oh.
Anyone else? Yeah. I just want to know that I just want to know that people make it this far. So.
All right.
Yeah. So. It's easy money, people. Easy money.
You're leaving money on the table.
Off Amazon. Yep. So. All right. Well, if you're still listening, I would invite you to join us right here in 7 days because, well, not again. The time being thrown off is messing with me. It's not going to be 7 days. It's going to be what, 4 days,
4 or 5.
4 or 5 days. Yeah, we'll say Friday. So yeah, 5 days from now we're going to be doing this all over again. And yeah, please join us. Joe, as always, we always look forward to catching up on things with you. And yeah, I think. Well, I know we'll chat later, but
Yeah.
yeah, looking forward to next week's episode. What do you think?
I'm looking forward to it as well. It's something to look forward to.
Yeah. So on that note, take care, my man.
You too. Take care. Bye bye.